You're listening to 3 Days Through the Wood, a novel by Bear Mawasaki, as read by the author. Chapter 17, Keeper of the Wild Wood. Deep in the winter forest where frost threatened to consume the last of the dying springs, a lone figure broke through the surface of the water. Catherine, or Pill, or Caterpillar, or the Straw Hat Girl, whoever it was who rose from those depths wasn't quite the same as the person who had fallen in, but they were similar enough. Straw hat, short hair, a familiar checkered fleece, and bloodied hands that grasped weakly over the side of the pool. Different this time was the confidence in which the figure rose, a single-minded determination that hadn't been there before. Resilient. Even as Pill fell limply into the heavy snow, her head turned to the sky, watching the moon. She wanted to live. "I made a mistake," she said. The moon watched through the clouds. Freezing winds whistled on the outskirts of the eye of the storm, promising the coming embrace of winter cold. There wasn't much time left before the sky would seal shut. "I want to go back." The hot springs were dead. The last of the steam sank into the earth like spirits settling beside Pill into the vast white snows, while the water finally began to freeze over. "I'm ready," she cried. "I'm ready to go back. I'm ready to fix everything." Her cry echoed far into the night, deep into the forest, and was answered with the fiercely echoed quiet of silent condemnation. She thought that would be the extent of her answer, readied herself for the lonely desolation of the winter forest, but a sound finally broke the spell. There was a sharp snort that rumbled like an ox or a bull, but many times magnified, and then there was the roar of something like thunder through the trees. Pill could see light shining through the other side of the forest, and it was coming closer. She rolled herself through the snow. When her slashed arm tried to give out, she pulled herself forward on her elbows instead, one after the other, determined to reach the light. She hadn't noticed when the moon fell from the sky, but there it was now, watching her like a massive pale eye through the gaps of the trees. The canopy rustled as branches began to fall and crash to the ground, swiftly buried in snow or splashing into the dead springs. Trees bent and twisted, rounding into knots that became limbs and fingers, until the rough shape of a person had formed in the in-between, coalescing around the great moon eye and shining in silhouette, with limbs and antlers and horns and many other things. Forest brush grew over the face of the trees and formed to a great wild beard. The face Pill saw was warm and curious, but clearly intelligent as well, and it watched her silently as she approached. Shivering beneath the weight of winter and her own fear in the face of the unknown, Pill crawled forward. "I'm not ready to die," she said. "Few are," the wood gave answer. The words were delivered on sharp wind that cut through to the core of her being, beyond her skin and bones and blood to something more deep and primal that wanted to flee before the power of the dark forest. The face of the wood's keeper was unmoving, but the rustling of trees and crunching of frozen leaves, heaves of fallen snow, and waters trickling under frozen streams all spoke a language of their own, and Pill could hear it now. The forest spirits, was something far beyond what she had ever known, but even as it spoke, she understood that she too was part of its chorus. Pill held her ground. "Isn't there anything I can do?" she asked. The great moon eye watched her. She held out her wrist, stained red to the elbow. The pain was numb to nothing, even as it continued to bleed over the pristine snow and forest soil beneath. "I know what I did," she said, "but maybe I can still fix it. Maybe there's a chance." The winds howled with a freezing touch that drove Pill back into the snow. "Maybe," said the wood. "And maybe not." "I'm ready to try," said Pill. "I came back all this way. I can't die yet. I just can't." "Many who come this way do so before they are ready," said the wood.
"You are not the first to regret the path you've walked, to reach for the road not taken,
but those ways don't remain open forever. So is this a punishment? Pill asked. Am I here because I threw my life away? Is that how it works? No, the wind whispered gently. This is only a road. To follow it is not punishment, but a journey that all undertake. I understand, said Pill. A weight in her heart had lifted, and she felt like she could fall into the sky. Even if she had made a mess of her old life, had tried to throw it all away when her troubles seemed insurmountable, the idea that she could maybe turn around and find a new direction was promise enough to keep moving, even if she knew the road ahead would be difficult. But then, Chirp, she said, realization slowly dawning, a memory from her life on the farm. There was a day, only one, where that small red bundle of fur had finally been comfortable enough to eat from her hand. He's... Yes, said the wood. And he's... with Vixen again. Then what about Grizzly? Pill asked. Rover, Cooper, Luna, everybody I've met, everyone I've traveled with, they're all... following their own paths. Some are similar to yours, while others are very different, like the Kits. But no matter how varied the way, all converge eventually. This is the road you've walked. But there is a way back, right? Pill pleaded. If a road goes one way, then it has to go the other too. Couldn't I just walk back, wake up, fix everything? If you would plead, I would tell you it serves no purpose, said the wood. You have seen what waits for you at the end of this path, glimpsed the river into the beyond. Did it frighten you? No, said Pill. That's not it. I'm not afraid of that anymore. But what I did, I know now just how much it's going to hurt the people I left behind. It'll hurt them the same way I was hurt, and I don't want that for them. I shouldn't have done it. And when I find a way back, I'll do my best to find a way to live for myself from then on. I won't make the same mistake again. The trees groaned under the weight of the wind. The eye of the storm narrowed over them. Are you here to stop me? No. Then, is it possible? Can I still go back? To take responsibility for one's decisions, to claim true ownership over one's mistakes and failings, and seek to make amends, is too rare a thing. What you seek is difficult, but not impossible. Your moment, however, is fleeting even as we speak. Your success is not promised. But I choose to do it, said Pill. The snow was trying to bury her alive, and she lifted herself out from it again. What about the others? What about Chirp and his mom? What about... The hole in her heart was yearning, and would forever until she crossed the river. Can't I bring anyone back with me? None can set the path for another, spoke the wood. When the wind came now, it was a warm breeze at her cheek, a memory of some summer day. We can meet and walk together out of choice, seek out those who might help us on our way, make better choices together. But we can never choose another's path. And none who cross that river may ever return, save for special and sacred times. And even then, only briefly. Kit and Vixen are gone from this world, but they are not unhappy. Your father is gone from this world, but he is not unhappy. And you will see him again. If you wish to see him now, you could go to him. And if you wish to return to the family you've left, you may go to them. But you cannot have both. That is beyond your power, and mine. The festival, said Pill. That's a sacred place, isn't it? A special time? Could I see him there again? The answer spoken by the woods echoed the longest within her, because she already knew it was true. You already have. Pill nodded, her hands sinking back into the snow. There was so much more I could have said. You can say it still. Then, can you bring him here, at least, before I go back? I can do many things, the wood gave answer. I can tell the trees when to grow and the leaves when to fall. I can tell the wind to blow and where to plant the seeds that will feed the land, to nourish the fauna that roam and to cloak the predators that prey. Given time, I could lift mountains from the earth, call rivers and lakes like tears from the sky. But even I cannot command the heart.
And if I could, I still would not.
To curate a wild garden would be to rob it of its very essence. Pill's arms were shaking, struggling to hold herself up.
But I will see him again.
Yes. Pill sighed. The tears froze on her cheeks before they hit the ground, and her breath turned to cold mist. She could remember the life beneath the winter. Only 3 days ago this had been a vibrant forest, a strange and wonderful place that she understood now was the untamed borderland between one world and the next. It was a place where all would pass through in time, and where both sides could meet, if only briefly. She didn't know how or when she might find herself here again, but knowing that her journey would bring her back here eventually was enough. Pill smiled. Her father, Chirp and his mother, and many, many, many others were all over on one side of the forest, but her family was waiting on the other. 3 days through the wood have nearly passed. Are you ready to make your choice? I'm ready, said Pill, looking to her slashed wrists still bleeding in the snow. I'm ready to try again. The eye of the moon lifted slowly with the weight of shifting mountains, and the trees all began to fall and bend back into their places, as if the keeper of the wild wood had never been there at all. The moon returned to the sky, watching the vast realm of the unknown from its place far, far above, while the eye of the storm began to close and lay down winter's final claim. And Pill? Pill went home.